Have you ever wondered why you haven't been consistent in your life? Maybe trying to build a new habit, maybe trying to do something different. But the consistency has been there for one way or reason, and you're just quitting and you're not happy with your results due to that. And so I was really thinking about this, where this problem comes from. Because actually they were talking about it at church. Like, oh, that's an interesting topic, consistency. And I was listening to the lecture and I was thinking about it, how it's played a role in my life. And I thought about it, what breaks consistency? One of the things I did find about consistency that breaks it is having a lack of a trigger. A trigger is something that causes it to cause a cascade. So I want you, in order to solve this, I want you to think of this question. What's the equation? So your trigger is going to trigger that equation. So whatever it is you're trying to solve will be here. And the end of the equation, after your equal sign, is your consistency. Let's take a step back and let's think about what I mean by what's the equation. When you're in grade school and when you're doing math, you have equations, multiplication, addition, subtraction, whatever it is. There's no if, ands, or buts. So if you're doing addition, 1 plus 1 equals 2. There's no if, ands, or buts. 1 plus 3 does not equal 2. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So whatever you insert into each of those sections causes consistency, and it causes you that first equation number creates a trigger for the rest of the equation. And it's the same thing with being consistency. You need something to trigger that equation, so you can, at the end of the equation, you can get your consistency. One of the things I started doing that I definitely lacked in before was really assessing markets and trends, et cetera, like the economists do. And so for a while, I've known for like over a year now that I've needed to do it. I've tried it, but I haven't been consistent at it. And so this year I was really thinking about, what can I do to really be more consistent with it? And I realized the reason why previously I wasn't being consistent with it is because I didn't have that trigger. So I would just do sporadically, which wasn't healthy enough for me. With that, especially nowadays, economic times are different. And so I know moving forward that understanding these trends will help me make better investment decisions, as well as a better quality of life, and be more proactive about the future. And the way I did that was I set up my trigger. So trigger could be pretty much anything, it could be a tangible item. Maybe for some, they like tangible items. Some can be a physical location, some place like a library, maybe it's the gym, whatever it may be. For me, in order for me to get more, what my trigger was actually a location. Once I arrived at a certain physical location, for me it was a parking lot, I knew I had downtime. So my trigger would be the physical location. I knew once I arrived in that parking lot specifically, I knew that once I turned that car off, I knew what I was going to do next, which was my next part of the equation was to go on my phone and look up economics, macroeconomics, different indicators, et cetera, et cetera. And so which allowed me at the end of that equation to be more consistent. So at the front of the equation, we had the physical location or your trigger. You had your routine that you want, which for me was to do more research about economics, macroeconomics, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of it, I wanted to be more consistent and just go by asking myself, what's the equation, helped me to be more consistent. And at the end of it, also identifying that trigger.